I was also another part I was wondering about. How many miles or kilometers did you put in that car in the movie? Because you're driving the whole Scottish countryside back and forth and back and forth. I'm like, oh my God, I'm wondering how much does this character drive here? And learning also the other side of the road coming from New York. She's really skilled with that too.
It was scary for me as well, because I come from the other side of the road as well.
You did do the driving actually? Or was there like, did you do actual driving?
I was actually driving on certain occasions, but we made, as the movies, they made sure it was safe, of course, and that enough traffic was blocked and everyone was instructed. Yeah.
I'd like to get hold of his file from his former residence.
Best to make a fresh start with this patient.
Tell me about this drawing.
An accident.
Was it on the news?
I made it happen.
Do you see images in your mind?
There's a gun in your drawer.
Thekla, how are you?
I'm good. I lost you again. I saw you briefly and then you were gone.
Yeah, I saw you and was trying to connect. That was probably what it was.
I apologize that I was supposed to be with earphones, but something.
That's fine. No, I hear you perfectly. Not a problem.
The music is not bothering.
I don't even hear any music.
It's not mentioned.
There you go. Yeah. I first thought I'm like, is that a shower in the background too? Like a bathroom shower with the tiles and everything?
No, I always do my interviews from a hammam.
It's a unique background. I'll say that. So that's a first. I like it.
Very good.
How are you? Where are you at today?
I'm in Amsterdam.
Oh, okay.
My hometown. I just got back. I was in Spain for 3 months working on Warrior Nun, a series for Netflix, and I've just come back to straightforward autumny Amsterdam.
Yeah, I was just saying. I'm guessing the weather in Spain was a little bit warmer and nicer.
Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah, it was very. But it's great to be.
It's this time of the year. I'm in Chicago, so it's already cold and everything rainy and all that stuff. So I can relate weather-wise.
Yeah, great.
Well, I got to ask you about this. I'm still wrecking my head about it. Like I couldn't fall asleep thinking about what happened, what I just watched. It was just one of the most mind-boggling movies I've seen. And that's a really good thing because it made me think about it. I was curious also thinking like when I watched, I'm like, what must have been your reaction when you first read the script? Were you following it? Did you know what was going on when you were first reading the script for the first time?
I read it. I immediately loved it. I also immediately felt I want to play this character. But when I closed the last page, I also felt I want to read this again straight away.
I'd imagine.
Definitely, I really didn't get it on all levels. But I was so fascinated and I felt it was such a mathematical work. So, mathematically built. I felt it, I was just really fascinated by it. And I wanted to get into the deeper layers of it.
There's so much that goes on for this character in this movie. It's almost like you're playing multiple characters or there's multiple kind of layers or different films within the film. It feels like so many times. Yeah. Did you approach a character in one way or did you have to kind of change it up for the different points of the movie? I was curious because it feels like a different movie at certain points. I just wonder if your approach was, I'm just going to do this one way I envision her, or is there different times that she changes to you?
Well, it was certainly, that was something I really worked with Albert on this, with the director and writer of the story a lot. That was most of my preparation. And actually, I approached it quite linearly, even though the character and the film are not linear. But for me to play the character the way the audience also, gets the story told, is basically quite from A to Z in the end. Although in your head, when you watch it, of course, it's not at this happening. There's things happening in different parallel universe, you could say. Yeah. And in the end, Well, it's really hard to talk about the film for, don't want to spoil anything.
I could put a spoiler warning because I think I'm gonna have questions about this because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go on, but we can. I usually put a spoiler warning anyway.
Okay, put it in. For me, I love seeing the film in the way that, I think it's being perceived in different levels. Some people really enjoy it as a thriller and they're on the edge of their seat trying to understand what's happening. There's people who interpret it immediately on a more philosophical level about, who's in charge in your life of what, or what does religion mean? Is there a God who is all, how do you say that? All, how do you call that?
All powerful and almighty in that sense.
Or is it more is it in yourself, and are you in charge of your own, karma or whatever? But what I really love is that for me, but this is so again, spoiler alert.
Yes, right now at this point, we're going to put a spoiler alert thing.
It's about the boy who's traumatized by the big accident. Thank you. Accident that happened, to his parents. And in the end, ultimately, we are in his head. And in the end, for me, it's about the healing capacity of a human being. There's the most fascinating story that Albert told me that also was, part of his inspiration, is a boy who had such huge trauma that he actually didn't want to live anymore. And he invented for himself, he was a child, and he invented for himself that he would consciously put how do you call it, in the electricity thing, and a thing in the adapter.
Oh yeah, the plug.
Plug into the thing, and it would be his decision every day to do the day and to get, to get up and do. And it's a really powerful idea that can come from a child for himself to, in the end, initiate his own healing process. And for me, that's what he's doing, our boy and hero in the story as well. But it's a very individual, it's a way to see the film, but I love to see the film that way. And that's how it's why I feel really connected to it, is that a kid in this closet in the end, where his mom finds him, so I'm his invention. And in the end, it's his invention in his own head that tells him, you are strong enough to get out, to step outside, go to your mom and pinch her. You are capable of this. He's gone through so much, and he's in his head. He's made up all the defense mechanisms and awful things that you can imagine, and sort of did sort of therapy with himself.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's his own invention that tells him. So it's a symbol of him being strong enough to put himself out in the world again. I love to look at it this way, but it's not necessarily the only way to look at it.
No, there's more. I didn't even see it that way, but that makes complete sense to me too, that, there's finally hope for him at the end when he does pinch and that he's finally making an attempt to ask for help or speak or, be vulnerable. Yeah. That makes sense. I also thought that, your character in a sense was kind of just also envisioning things for her life, and later at the end, you're just kind of stuck in this trap of your own mind for your character too. You can look at it even in two different ways at the end from both perspectives, that she's so trapped in her own life that she's trying to make peace with herself to get her through every day when she's talking to the therapist too.
Right. It could also be that he is really her case that she works on and ends up in a mental institution, and in that he does find the answer to what it must have been for this boy. So you can also, and I think that what makes it really interesting, although it's also, it's confusing at a certain level, but I love that it's so ambiguously rich, I would say. And
it makes sense. Every ambiguous angle you can justify and you can make sense of it. You can even make sense that, oh, maybe her husband did die in the crash, and all the other thing was she imagined that too afterwards, that he didn't. I love the layers and depth of this movie. It's very deep, and to write it with so many open ends and all of them make sense. That's a really great testament to the writing of this film.
It is, and I have another one to add to that, which was amazing for me. That Albert approached me to if I wanted to do the role, and I was, we spoke straight away for 3 hours, like you can understand now about.
Yes, very much.
And then suddenly Peter Mullen, Rebecca Front, all these they had the same immediate fascination upon reading this script. And I mean, big people I admire, like Peter Mullen, Rebecca Front, and all these actors that are involved. It was a really huge compliment, I thought, for the script as well, that from all these people around the world, they are all fascinated and want to work on this a small art house film. Not small, actually. I mean, for Dutch purposes,
it looks very Hollywood to me. But like the production value looks great, and the cinematography, it's really high quality.
Albert, the director, is so involved in the way he was so specific about the genre references in it. Guido van Gennep, a really great Dutch DOP. I also agree. It looks amazing. But it was just a confirmation of the richness of the script and the story, and
No, it's phenomenal. I was also another point I was wondering about. How many miles or kilometers did you put in that car in the movie? Because you're driving the whole Scottish countryside back and forth and back and forth. I'm like, oh my God, I'm wondering how much does this character drive here? And learning also the other side of the road coming from New York. She's really skilled with that too.
It was scary for me as well, because I come from the other side of the road as well.
You did do the driving actually? Or was there did you do actual driving?
I was actually driving on certain occasions, but we made, as the movies, they made sure it was safe, of course, and that enough traffic was blocked and everyone was instructed. Yeah.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, the beautiful scenery, it's just a character in itself. I feel like when I see you drive, especially those driving scenes or the rain, stuff like the scenery is almost a character in itself. That movie works in this setting.
Yes. New York, the whole period in New York, upstate New York with her man, it's all warm and colorful, sunny. It's all the warmth and everything's okay. The symbolism of that, and then definitely Scotland is the perfect character to come into the picture. The landscapes are amazing, as we all know, and the weather was also really tough sometimes to work with.
That's no CGI. That's real rain, probably.
Oh no, everything is mostly real, like the storm and the water. There's a lot. It was just plain beautiful Scotland. Yeah. Yes,
into the character. Before I let you go, I got to ask you, you were in even though a small part, but you were in one of my all-time favorite movies called In Bruges. And I love that movie. It's one of my all-time favorites. I just wanted to ask, with being a part of it and all, what sort of fond memories do you have looking back? I know that movie with Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. It's one of the hidden gems, I feel like, for films.
I agree. And I mean, it has a huge fan base. It's not so hidden anymore, I think. I think Martin McDonagh rightfully has, I'm a huge fan of his work, his theater work and everything he does. Mm-hmm. And it was quite at the early in my career. So for me, I like Alice in Wonderland as well, with all these, actors that I admired, and the script that I was so blown away with how funny it was and how original, so I mean, I think I was very wide-eyed and cutely pregnant with my pillow under my dress and impressed with everyone. For everyone, the most amazing thing was that we were filming it actually in Bruges. Mm-hmm. And it, speaking of how a place can be a character for a film, I mean, Bruges is like the summum of that. So
yes,
it's like you're walking through this enormous decor that's just unbelievably too pretty and too perfect. And, and then there's this, that we're doing this story in it, and how the mayor loved it and worked together with the film crew to, there's even tours, In Bruges tours, I think.
Oh, really? Oh, I'd love to do that one because that movie's like, it literally takes you on a tour during the movie of so many parts.
It's definitely a fun thing, I think, to do.
Oh, that's so cool that you're a part of it. But like I said, I'm a fan of your work. I think you're a phenomenal actress. I wish, like, we here in the States, I know in Europe you are known, but I wish here in the States you get that acclaim because I love seeing you work. And this was an amazing character for you. And you really did a fantastic job. I really enjoyed this film.
I'll keep working on getting that done there.
Yes, come on over here. We need you more in major films out here. You're a phenomenal actress, and I can't wait to see what's next for you. You've always picked some really cool, interesting roles.
Thank you. So kind.
Thank you, Thekla. I hope to catch up with you soon on the next one.
Definitely. All right.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.